Hi guys, how you doing today? All right, let's see who's already here. Beth Malik, Jeanette Persons, Anime Foley. You guys are all looking forward to seeing Kathie Lee, Sue Jeffries, um, and Christy Getch. Good morning from Battlegrounds, Washington. Really looking forward to the interview. All right, you guys, and who do we have? Olivia Crockett. Kathie Lee and Joan Lunden are two of my favorite morning show hosts of all time. Great show ahead. I will listen to every minute. So listen, you guys, I'm also excited about this. What is it? It is the 21st of May. And you guys know I always look up every day to find out what national holiday is being observed. And there's usually some crazy, crazy thing. And today, believe it or not, it is National Eat More Fruits and Vegetables Day. Who do you think puts these on there? I think maybe the FDA put that one on there because it's always celebrated, it said, on the Thursday before Memorial Day. I think it's there to remind us not to overindulge everything off the barbecue over this 3-day weekend. Oh, and on that note, check this out. Tomorrow, I'm going to have on Jackie Falco. She's a nutritionist. This happens to be one of her books for teens, and it's Health and Beyond for the teenager and for the teen that lives inside every adult. Boy, I know I have a teenager living inside me, that's for sure. However, today I am so excited to share my guest with you. I got to tell you, she is one of the nicest, most sincere women I think I've ever met. Kathie Lee Gifford. And I met Kathie Lee on the set of Good Morning America. She was Kathie Lee Johnson then, and she was working for us. And when I would be out of town or out on the road doing a story, and Kathie Lee would come and sit in for me. And at the time, my co-host was David Hartman. And sometimes when David was gone, he would have Frank Gifford come and sit in for him. So, of course, the day came that we were both gone, and maybe we were both, I think one time we went to London to do a story because there was something coming up, and they were both there, and that's where she met Frank Gifford. You're welcome, Kathie Lee. And so I want to take this opportunity right now to say hi today. Oh, look at the picture there, to say hi to Kathie Lee. Hi, girl.
Oh, Joan, so nice to see you. Yes, I owe you everything. All my happiness, my children, my future grandchildren, I owe it all to you.
Wait a second. You left me.
But you know what else today is?
What?
I don't care about the fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
I had about 20 people call me this morning and say, Happy National Chardonnay Day.
Oh!
That's what it really is.
Well, do you have Chardonnay in your line of wine?
I certainly do. I have Chardonnay, I have Rosé, I've got a Pinot Grigio, a red blend, and now we have a sparkling Rosé.
And remind people what it's called?
It's called Gift, G-I-F-F-T, gift wines, because life's a gift. And, you know, I was born in France. I'm a Jewish girl, and Jews have a rich heritage and rich tradition in the wine world. And so I grew up with wine as a big part of my family. So it's a natural thing for me.
Yeah, you were born, I think, Kathy Epstein. Do I remember that?
Fine. Please don't confuse me with that Jeffrey guy.
Oh, God, no. But one thing I do remember that I don't know if I've ever asked you about, am I right that you were born in Paris?
Paris, France.
I've been talking about
these last couple of days because I have a special coming out on Memorial Day on Ancestry's Facebook at 11 o'clock Eastern. It's Parade of Heroes, and it's a virtual Memorial Day parade. And so they've been asking me why I was involved, and I told them that, you know, my father was a 20-year veteran of the Navy. He lied about his age when he was 17 after Pearl Harbor. Joined the Navy, served during World War II and beyond. His stepfather was killed in combat in Europe. His oldest brother died in combat in Europe. His last remaining brother was wounded badly in Europe. My dad was on a ship, you know, out at sea during all of that. So he's the only one who came home unscathed. you know, physically, but not. Nobody goes to war and comes back the same. But my daddy never complained about a thing. And so, yes, and after World War II, my father went back to Paris to be on Eisenhower's staff at SHAPE headquarters and so my mother and father found it to be very romantic in Paris and made me. So,
and when they all came to the United States, where'd they settle?
Then we went to Wiesbaden, Germany for a couple of years. He was stationed there. And then we came back to where he was born, Annapolis, Maryland. He was stationed at the U.S. Air Station there. And that's where my sister was born, you know, Maryland.
Yeah.
And that's where I grew up. And until I left at the age of just turned 18 and moved down to Florida to live with Anita Bryant.
I remember that.
And that lasted a year. And then I went to college for a while, and then I left school because I always did very, very well in school, but I always hated school. I don't know. I'm just one of those people. My daughter's exactly the same way. My son went on to get his master's at Oxford University. He loves academia.
You also were talented. You knew you had, I mean, you had a beautiful voice.
Oh,
and you probably wanted, I mean, when you have a gift like that, you want to pursue it. I don't know if everybody remembers, but you, Kathie Lee Johnson at the time, I believe you were Kathie Lee Johnson at the time, you were the Name That Tune girl.
Yep, it was my big break in this business. I was I was ready to give up on the industry. I'd gone to California to become an actress and a singer because I'd been one my whole life. I actually want to make money at it.
And here we're looking at you. Check that out.
Yep.
There's Kathie Lee singing on Name That Tune.
On Name That Tune. That's right. I was called the La La Girl. And I had to learn 200 songs in 5 days. And then we were going to shoot every program for the entire year in just a few weeks. And they'd give me like a card that would say 2 and then a 3/4. Man, you're going to get 2 bars of 3/4. And then you've got to just start singing. And I mean, I would think I was 20, I don't know, 22, 21, 22 years old.
Wow.
And I never made one mistake, not one.
Wow.
I couldn't have done that again the next week. You know, I mean, it was just insanity, but it became a career-defining moment for me because the ratings went through the roof, and you know, I had this cute little Dorothy Hamill haircut that you just saw, and
I know you did. When I saw that picture, I thought, oh my gosh, that's the Dorothy Hamill cut. Here we have several people who watched you a lot. Marty Cullum. I remember Kathie Lee on Name That Tune. Loved her ever since. What a beautiful person inside and out.
So nice. Thank you. Well, we've heard other things about each other, haven't we?
Hey, listen, did you pretty much think at that time that your career was going to be in singing, or did you always have your sights on TV and acting and movies?
Well, it originally was acting. That was my first. From the moment I was born, I came out of my mother's womb with a pratfall and a joke. and you know, I was a born entertainer, a performer, and my sister actually was born with a great musical ability. My sister had a much better singing voice than I did, but she didn't have the performing skills.
Yeah, she
wasn't a natural performer or actress as I was. My nickname when I was growing up was Sarah instead of Sarah Bernhardt. What was it? What did they call me? Sarah. Oh, well, doesn't matter.
Hey, well, listen. That's a perfect place for my shameless plug of the day.
Oh, yes.
Not being able to remember things like, why did I come into this room? I do that every day.
There you go. Sarah Bernhardt was the world's most celebrated actress at a certain point.
Yeah,
long before my time. But my parents named me Sarah Heartburn because I was the drama queen.
Hey, listen, we have a lot of people here. You have, here, let me see if I can catch them. Georgia Hillard, I remember your cruise commercials and the Lysol jingle. Here's Sheila Catching. I remember you on Name That Tune. We have Vincent, who joins us every day from Brooklyn, saying he remembers watching you on Name That Tune. Here is Paula McGuire saying hi to you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Linda Angermeyer from Canada. And Nancy Koch, I love your book, Kathie Lee. You've done so many different books. You did children's books too.
Yeah, I have another one coming. Yeah, I think it's my 8th children's book coming out in the fall, and my 18th overall book is also a one called "It's Never Too Late." But I don't remember all those people, but I'm grateful for them. But I do remember certain things you never forget. You'll learn the meaning of easy cleaning with the only foam that's Lysol. When you rub the tub, you have to scrub with the only foam that's Lysol. That
they should bring it back right now, for God's sakes.
Yes, they're Lysoling everything.
Yes.
In the morning, evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, with the carnival commercials.
Carnival commercials, yes.
That happened the time I met you. I came to work at Good Morning America in June of '82, and in '85 I went to work for
the Carnival.
'84 went to work for Carnival, and worked for them for 20 years. I was their spokesperson for 20 years.
Wow! Do you remember you remember the?
Sorry, honey.
Do you remember the early days at GMA? What was that like? You went out on stories and everything, right? You were.
Yeah, see, I remember that they, when they called me and they wanted me, I said, why? I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm an actress and a singer. They said, because you're good with people. You're not. And that show at the time was entertainment. It was ABC Entertainment. It wasn't ABC News. So they saw in me somebody that was naturally comfortable in front of the camera and really liked people, and was smart enough to learn how to, the nuts and bolts of where to stand, how to do a stand-up. And you know what? I have great, great memories of being there. Everybody was very kind to me. I think the best thing I had going for me when I got there was an attitude of, listen, you guys, I know what you're going to think. I got this job, and some other people who are more qualified for it did not get it. I agree with you. I said, I was going to, of course, this came at a good time for me to just get out of LA. And I just thought, I'll learn something new. I'll make new friends. So please understand, I did not go after this job. I hope I didn't. And I need your help. I really would love you to help me along the way. I don't think I would be here very long, because I was going to go right back to, I only signed a 1-year deal. And I always sign just 1-year deals if I can get away with it, because I just don't want to ever be stuck at something I hate.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. I'm not a, I don't know. I don't know what it's like not to be an artist. An artist, if they don't grow, they die on the vine. I remember our producer, Susan Winston.
Yes.
Remember her? She thought that I'd stop singing. She thought that I'd stop singing and performing. And while I was doing Good Morning America, I went, oh, I have no intention of stopping. So I would leave New York, get in a car and go down to Atlantic City, do 2 shows, and come back in a car and be there at 4:00 in the morning at GMA to do an Alpo commercial. And that's when I really remember I had to do the commercials with the
Alpo commercials with the dog and the handler who never, like, you couldn't get near that dog, because if she saw you feed anything to that dog, you were dead, because they wanted that dog hungry.
Well, the true story of how I met Frank Gifford was not.
Wait. You met him before you sat next to him on Good Morning America? Really?
Yeah.
I've been taking credit for you and all of your 2 beautiful children all these years.
Keep doing it. It's fine. It makes for a lot of fun at cocktail parties, I'm sure. But anyway, the truth is, while I was learning the ropes, they also had me doing commercials. That's when we were hosting the Olympics, I think.
Yeah.
That's in the Olympics. And the nighttime coverage of the Olympics. So anyway, I remember that it was 4:00 in the morning, which was not unusual for us to all be there at that time. But it's one thing to be the co-host of a major anchor of neighborhood. It's another thing to be the new kid in town about to have a date with the smelly basset hound. So I get my hair and makeup done, and I'm walking down the one of the hallways, those dressing rooms. And I look over and I see the greatest set of buns I have ever seen in my life, leaning over a sink, putting in contact lenses.
And that had to be Frank.
Had no idea who the buns belonged to. And I went, boy, have I got an operation for you. Because I just had the precursor to LASIK. It was called radial keratotomy. And so this voice comes from the sink bowl saying, yeah, with a fool on either end. And I went, do I know that voice? You know? And I just thought, that's sharp. I went flying. The phone went flying. So sorry. Can we fix that?
That's okay.
Continue telling you the story in the meantime.
I just want to know, I mean, did those hot buns resonate? Was there an instant, I don't know, connection? I mean, there was an instant.
You've seen Frank Gifford's buns. If you have, I want to have another conversation with you when we're off the air. But no, even on the day he died, Frank had the greatest body I've ever seen on a man. He did. He was an athlete, and he was an athlete till the day he died.
But he was also such a gentle, he was just one of the nicest. I mean, whenever he would come in, he was just the nicest guy.
It was a complete and total gentleman. We have an audio problem, Joan.
I don't think so. I hear you.
No, I can't hear you hardly at all. Is there a volume control?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. There you go. When it fell, something hit that. Yeah. Perfect. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Sorry about that. What are you doing?
So was there?
It just fell off. Anyway, I'm so
was there
sorry
an instant rapport?
What?
Was there an instant rapport?
Well, I never said another word to him that particular morning. I was just told that it was. I realized later that.
It's okay, Angie.
Angie's my dear friend. She's not a technician. I remember when we used to have crews. Remember, Joan? And
oh yes, we were living large.
we were. That's good.
Well, it's knocking your volume down.
Okay, now we're working on it. Went down. Joan, say something.
So let me say, Toby. Let me just put my glasses on. I only use them to see. Toby Bassie Rodicap, Kathie Lee, you helped me get through one of the most difficult times in my life. You were going through a similar situation, and you were the perfect model of grace and forgiveness. God bless you always.
Oh,
wow. Isn't it nice to hear things like that, that not only what you're saying, but the way you're living your life can have that kind of an impact on other people.
Yeah, and Joan, you know what? You hear the same thing from people when you were going through your cancer struggles, and you know what a valiant role model you became for so many other people going through it, and how brave you were, and how still beautiful you looked, and your attitude was so great, and I was proud of you, very proud of you, and you know, I'm actually living in this home here in Tennessee as a result of exactly what that person is saying. I bought my first little place right across an alley here. And one day the woman who owns the one I'm in came to her balcony, which is the biggest one. It looks like Tuscany. It's the most gorgeous. And I used to sit on my sad little deck and lust after her deck. I had deck envy, okay? And we got to talking, and I said something to her like, you know, if you ever sell your home, and why would you? It's so beautiful, but I'd love you to talk to me before you do. Well, 7 months later, I am actively looking for another home, and I'm about to sign on a place in downtown here where I live. And the guy that's showing me the house says, you know what, there's one more I want you to see, though. And I said, well, he says, it's one of the brownstones. And I said, I've seen them all. I live there. I've seen them all. He goes, no, you haven't seen this one. It hasn't even come on the market. And they want to see you tomorrow. They want to meet with you. And I went, is it the double wide? Is it the big one? And he goes, yeah. So the next morning I came in and saw the house, and I knew instantly it was to be my home. And I couldn't figure out what had happened. I came to this very room that I'm sitting in right now, in their living room, kitchen, bar area. It's just a beautiful big entertainment area. And I sat down with them, and the lady who we've become great friends, she said, I need to explain something to you. She said, a couple of days ago, the Lord put it on my heart. And everybody down here that I've met are pretty much faith-based people. They just are. They walk with God. They have a real living relationship. It's not church they go to on Sundays. That's it. They walk with God and live with God every day. It's part of their everything they do. And she goes, I was talking to the Lord the other day, and I heard him very plainly say to me, I want you to sell your house to Kathie for being the blessing she is, to be a blessing to her for the blessing.
Wow.
And first of all, it's so humbling to hear that. And I just looked at her, and she starts to cry. And she goes, I'm one of those people that could have never gotten through some of the things I went through if it hadn't have been for you. And so I went and told my husband, we're supposed to sell our house to Kathie. And he goes, okay. And they had lived here for 12 years. They built this home. And this is the amazing part of the story. I said, well, I'm going to buy it if you'll let me. I'm grateful. I'd love to buy it. I said, but where are you going to go? And she goes, we don't know, do we, honey? We have no idea. No idea. No idea. So
it was meant to be.
Huh?
It was meant to be.
Meant to be, meant to be, meant to be. So I'm just, you've been on television your whole life too, Joan. We don't think about when we get up in the morning. I used to always pray for everybody that would be watching our show, but I have no idea who those people are, And I would tend to try to, forget the critics, Kathie, do your show, do your thing for the people that get you and appreciate you, because they're the only ones that really matter ultimately. The people that are kind and good and loving and supportive. Do your show for them, and forget what anybody else says. And I've been stunned through the years to find out who was watching at a certain time, and the Lord used me in one way or another to be exactly what they needed on that given day. And I just always saw it as a tremendous privilege to be able to come into people's homes. And because it's an intimate thing.
Sure is.
And I caught it. I'll hold it. Angie.
We're living in Zoom land and FaceTime land.
But it's this little stand thing.
Yes.
And when you put the phone on it, it blocks the audio part. So that's why your audio was going out, and it was going. I'm just going to hold it if that's okay.
Oh, listen, I started this Facebook Live show right after the pandemic started. I've been doing it for about 8 weeks. And for the first 7 weeks, I swear to God, every time I would FaceTime my guests, and I would hold, everybody here knows it's true, and I would hold up for like an hour. I had Charlie Gibson on one day. I held that thing up for an hour. And then I was on a podcast the other night, or maybe someone else's Facebook Live, Scott and Suki. And they said, oh, you can do it through this other thing called StreamYard. You get to do 2 screens. You can put up, you can put everybody's things right in front of you. Here we have Susan Bach. My mom loved watching you both. Joan Lunden, she would say, Joan Lunden, I trust her reporting. And Kathie Lee, she watched you in Regis every day for 15 years and occasionally say, well, Kathie Lee said this or that. So happy memories. This is another person I want to put up. Here's Jeffrey Zeiss. Kathie Lee, you held my hand when I saw you at Madison Theater on Long Island the day I buried my dad, and I will never forget your kindness. Wow.
That makes me cry.
There's another one here that says, you two have us in tears. And here's Candy Troya. I would love for you to watch my podcast and how I survived 10 years. And there's also somebody here. I really wanted to share this with you. And it's now other people have come in and I think I lost it. But somebody said what we're watching is what reality TV should really be. And, reality TV has kind of gotten to the point where it's like putting a camera on people being outrageous. And I really think a good part of America wants to see people being genuine. And for good role models.
That's why I don't watch much television anymore. I never did. When you're on television every single day, it's the last thing in the world I wanted to do is watch it. But I watch so little now that I don't know how many televisions I have in this house. I think I've turned on my TV once in the year that I've lived here.
Wow.
You know, the negativity, the lack of civility.
It's unbelievable.
It's a big part of the reason I left, not because of Hoda. Hoda's the reason I stayed 11 years. And a lot of the people there that I just love. When I talk about the culture of the Northeast, I don't want anybody to think I'm putting down the people that live there. There are some wonderful, wonderful people and dear friends I'll have for the rest of my life that actually live there. But I talk about the culture of chaos in the Northeast, and especially in the media world. It has changed in the 35 years I've been doing it.
Yep, it sure has.
Not for the better. It's so partisan. Yeah. It's so obviously biased. There is so little objectivity in journalism anymore. It's been creeping in for a long time. I remember the first time I had gone out and done a story and came back to edit all night long and was there when the editor tried to change something that someone had said. And with a touch of a button, they did it. And I had a freak fit. I said, you can't do that. That's not what they said. I was right there. And she said, we do it all the time. And that was back in the 1980s. Now nobody's changed about it.
But, you know, when the way we were told always to approach, because, you know, we always did the debates, you know, like Eleanor Smeal and Phyllis Schlafly on women's rights, or Tipper Gore with, you know, some rapper, you know, talking about records and things. And we were always told when we did those, we were there not to render our opinion, but just to elicit their opinions. And by the end of the interview, no one at home should have a sense of which side we were on. That was our mission.
That's exactly right. Well, that's what they teach in journalism. I don't know what they teach now. I never took a journalism class. That's why I knew I was never, you know, should have been hired at Good Morning America to begin with. You know, one story. You know what drove me crazy there, and I can't believe I stayed 3 years, because it's when you think about it, when you know the type of person that I am and how this mouth is. Anyway, it was very, very teleprompter at that time.
At that time, yeah.
David liked it that way. He wanted to control. He liked the control of things not being surprising on the air.
Yeah. It changed when Charlie came.
Yes, changed when Charlie came.
We just talked a lot, like you and Reed.
Exactly. And I liked David. He was always very nice to me. He was fine. It was straight. But I remembered I didn't know how to read a teleprompter, and so I had to learn that. And one day I was in for you, and we were talking about Princess Diana's impact on the fashion world since she became the princess. What did I say to? So then I was finished with the teleprompter, and I was just supposed to sit there dutifully. And I looked over at David. I said, maybe she could help the queen. Well,
that's a great sentiment, though. But you heard that.
I've got to put that in my book. I forgot about that. I was almost
back in.
On the spot. Huh?
Sneak that one into the book. Those are the things people love to hear.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Remind me, Ange, would you please, baby? Yeah, it was like maybe she could help the queen, and it got a huge laugh. Our whole crew just about died, and David just went, "We'll be right back," you know.
Charlie and I played a lot more. You know, we were playful on the air. And it was great. And I've told this crowd the story that the day he came to move his stuff into his office, he walked into my office and closed the door and said, let's show America that a man and a woman can do a show 50-50. And he never, he always stayed true to that. You know, he never changed.
A nice man.
I had and then you were on with Reed. Reed is like, if you've never experienced Regis Philbin, like, he's a handful, and he's just great and funny. What was it like for you working with him? Is he spontaneous?
Well, it's very, very. I used to watch him when I lived in LA. He was on AM Los Angeles. That's how I got the job at Good Morning America. When he left, I was in for him. He went off to do a show. I think it was with Mary Hart, a national show for Westinghouse. Yeah. It didn't work. But anyway, I was in just on a lark. I was opening for Bill Cosby all over the place, and I just happened to be home. And they said, "Do you have somebody that can come in and sit there?" Because it was a big deal when Regis left that show. So I was in, and somebody saw me and called Susan Winston and said, "You got to see this woman." And so that's how it all came to be. But then when I got to New York, Regis by then was doing the morning show. And I think he was doing it at that time with Sarah. I forget. He had a lot of different co-hosts. None of them. Sarah Purcell, I forget. Lots. But at that time, it was with Ann Abernathy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I remember being unhappy at my job at Good Morning America because I was creatively stifled like crazy. I mean, I'm really Lucille Ball, and and I'm not Christiane Amanpour. I'm just not. And it was even I could shine in the times when I was with the basset out, but give me the prime minister of something. It was just I could do it if I had to. I didn't enjoy it. Yeah. It wasn't fun for me. It was not fun. I learned how to be what I had to be, and I did my job, and I did it well. But I'd watch Regis every morning, just being a maniac. And I just thought, why aren't I with him? Why am I not with Regis? I mean, we would have the best time together. And you could tell that there was not one word that was teleprompter during his show. No. I could be free. I could be free of the teleprompter.
So did they call you or did you call them? Whoop, she's frozen for a moment. She'll be back though. Here we go.
I called my what?
Did you call them?
Froze. I'm right here, honey.
All right, there you are.
I called Sam Haskell. Remember Sam, my agent?
Yeah.
He's still my best male friend in the whole world. I called Sam and I said, "And Kathie's leaving to get married. That's what I want to do." He said, "You want to leave Good Morning America?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Kathie, it's the number one morning show in the country. You're going to leave for a local show?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to be happy. It's called Be Happy." And my joy is non-negotiable. I even felt that way even then. I said, "I've done enough of this. I'm well, and I'm everybody's happy with the job I'm doing, but I'm not. I want to be able to." I was on the road a whole lot. Yeah. And I missed having friends and missed having a life that was, that I could count on. At the drop of a hat, you pack your bag and you're in someplace else. And it was never what I liked. And so I said, with Regis, I'll be able to sleep in my own bed at night and have a life. So he got me an audition for it. And I'll never forget what happened then. There was in the papers, page 6 and all of that, Kathie Lee Johnson going to leave the Today Show or the Good Morning America to go to work with Regis. And it was a lot of, small town talk, small industry talk at the time. I was at Le Cirque restaurant having lunch one day. You remember Le Cirque? It was wonderful. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody must have been taking me because I certainly couldn't afford Le Cirque restaurant back then. And I look over and there's Barbara Walters is sitting at, of course, the Queen's table. And she goes like this to me. Back, can't see that finger?
No, I know, but I know Barbara.
Yeah, beckoning. The Queen was beckoning me, not in a nasty way. Just she wasn't going to yell. She was just going, "Come over and see me." So I go over to her and she goes, "What is this I'm hearing that you might be leaving Good Morning America?" She worked there too at the time too, a lot. Remember?
You would sit in for me also.
And she said about joining Regis. And I said, "I don't know, Barbara. Everybody I talk to says I shouldn't do it because why am I leaving a national show to be with him on a local show?" And Barbara, who is maybe one of the smartest women we've ever met, we'll all give her that. She looks at me and she goes, "Kathie, Toledo is local. If you and Regis have something good, and I think you will, you won't be local long at all.
And you weren't. It went national.
It went national. We ultimately changed the total landscape of daytime television.
Yeah.
A lot of people tried to, be what we were afterwards, and nobody's ever had the kind of success, ratings-wise or any other way, that we did. And and in the process, I gained one of the greatest friends I could ever have. I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, and he enjoyed living in California mostly now. And so I don't get to see them that much, but I call him quite a bit, and we talk. And he's sitting there in lockdown like everybody else. And I talked to Joy for about 20 minutes, and then Reach gets on and he goes, "It's over." In typical Regis, the sky is falling down. Doomsday, it's over. And I laughed. I said, "Reg, we had a great run, didn't we, honey?" And he goes, "We had a great run." He's going to be 89 in August now. And
wow, really?
Still, I mean, the fun we had, and we had no writers at all. We did 23 minutes of daytime television every single day for 15 years.
Ad lib.
And we could have done the whole hour if they just needed to make some money. But it was a joy, and I just sure. And then I got to go and work with Hoda.
Oh my God! So everybody, you have to know, besides Kathie Lee, probably the other nicest woman in the entire world is Hoda Kotb. I love Hoda.
She is a sunshine in a bottle, and yep. I didn't want to come back to television at all. I was writing for theater then. I was doing films. I was writing
Broadway shows.
Off the cover. Huh?
You had Broadway shows.
Yeah, I was writing it at that time. It ended up coming out in, I forget. My off-Broadway one came out in 2000. I forget. There's just been so much. But I was happy. And they called me up to do that. And I said, no, I feel like I've done the best 15 years of television I'm capable of doing. And anything else is going to pale by comparison. And Jim Bell, the EP, said,
another nice guy.
Will you just have lunch with Hoda? Yeah, great guy. Will you just have lunch with Hoda? And so I did. And even then, I didn't want to come back because I said to her after lunch, we had a 5-hour lunch at the Rainbow Room. And they kicked us out because they were getting ready for dinner people to come in. We were taking up very valuable space. But she said, we went down to the ladies' room because I was going back to Connecticut. And I said to her, Hoda, I don't think I'm ever coming back to television, but I want to be your friend. You're the type of person that would be a great friend, and I would love to spend time with you, but I don't want to do television anymore, and all that stuff. So, but it was Frank that talked me into it. He talked me into it. He said, Kathie, you need to get back out there. Nobody does it like you do. I'm not saying, he wasn't saying I'm the best. He's saying you are a singular voice. There's no one like you. And people miss you. People were
good for him.
Some people did not miss me, but again, I didn't do that show for them. So I was some people's worst nightmare. I always said, well, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm a lot of people's Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and you guys obviously had so much fun on that show. So much fun.
Well, it was a disaster when I got there. It got hardly any ratings at all because it was still run like it's another typical hour of the Today Show. And people are tired of all of that by 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's a different audience.
So, it's a different audience, and they're sick of news, and or they want a funny take on the news, or they just want something. They want to be entertained by that point.
Yeah.
And I knew how to entertain them at 9 o'clock because I'd done that with Regis all those years. I said, I don't know who's even out there at 10 o'clock. And we took nothing, what I call a nothing burger, and made it into a filet mignon. We just did, just by getting to know one another, having fun with one another. And 2 things had to happen for that to happen.
Okay.
Pardon me. Number 1, Hoda had to get rid of her notes. As a journalist, it's your notes are you don't have your notes.
A plan.
She got rid of them because I hated them. I don't want to do your homework and then get rid of that stuff and talk to people. Just talk to them and let life happen. The other thing was the IFB, the interrupted feedback. Because she was talking to somebody in a booth, and I'm sitting there in front of her, And I could tell when she'd zone out because somebody was saying something to her. And you've got a stage manager right there who can tell you something. And so I refused to wear an IFB from day one. First person.
Oh my gosh.
I said, I will not wear it. If God wanted me to have an IFB, he would have given it to me at birth, is the way I felt. So we were doing the show out in the concourse on the plaza one day, and we got really, really noisy. And we were and a wind came up. And all of her notes went flying. And I went, it's a miracle. You never know. And it ended up great. And then we were made so much noise there one day that they moved us. They said, you can't do your show on the concourse on the plaza anymore. You guys are way too noisy. So I took that as a badge of honor. We moved indoors, and finally Hoda started to trust me and got rid of the IFB. And the minute that happened, we started really talking to one another.
Yeah.
Too many distractions. And you know what? That just doesn't work. It works in a news context because you need to. There's breaking news, all kinds of different things. And if you get something wrong, they want you to make it right while you have a moment too. There's all kinds of reasons for those things, but not on a show like ours. And everybody asked us about the drinking on the show. And I said, they blame us for it or think, I don't know. What happened was, while we were still out on that plaza, one of our guests was, what's her name? Late night with
Chelsea Handler.
Thank you, darling.
Wow.
She had a book. Thank you, Joan. She had a book out called Hello Vodka, It's Me, Chelsea.
Yes.
Right? Big bestseller. Well, our producers got a whole bunch of vodka cocktails as props just to welcome her. So we had a little fun with that and never thought anything about it. And the next week, oh gosh, I should get my story straight. Brooke Shields comes on.
Okay.
And looks around, she goes, "Where's my cocktail?" So our prop guys go get her a cocktail, and it's fun. And the next week, what's his name? Mikhail. Come on, help me. Angie doesn't know anything either. Joel McHale from Talk Soup comes on with his own bottle of Hennessy and starts drinking out of it without a glass. And it just became a thing.
That's how it started.
That's why Time Magazine called us the Today Show's Happy Hour. But we had nothing to do with it. And one time, Hoda and I came in, and at our table, our host chat table, were 2 glasses of wine. We goes, "What's this?" We thought we were supposed to have shtick with it or something. Said, "No, we just thought that other thing was working so well. We'll see how this works out." So that's how. And we had a theory, Hoda and I, why they left us on air doing it so long. The people at NBC, thought so little of our hour. They didn't even know we were on the air. They would have production meetings at 10 a.m. So we're on in the background or something doing our crazy stuff. But we're having a ball. And by the time somebody looked up and said, "What are they doing?" It was too late. It was a huge part of the show. Everybody loved it. We never got kicked off. I mean, we didn't ask for it, but it ended up being a real thing.
Listen, I want to share with you, Sherry Pollard. She is saying, "Joan and Kathie Lee, you paved the way for Hoda and Savannah and Jenna. They couldn't be the great journalists they are if it wasn't for you two ladies. Love you both, and so nice to see you together." Isn't
that lovely? Well, I'm not the journalist you were at all and are. I never claimed to be, but I just tried to be. You talk about authentic. That's what I try. People talk, and I'm sure they do to you too, about, "Oh, you're reinventing yourself." And I always say, you know what? I can't reinvent myself. I didn't invent myself to begin with. I'm created by God for unique purpose, as every person is. And I have to be authentic and true to that. That's the guiding principle in my life. Am I being the person God created me to be? Because we don't need any other, we need the real thing in this world. And authenticity is
more so than ever.
Is that. More so than ever. More so than ever. And I think that's why you and I probably both lasted as long as we have.
Yeah.
I never claimed to be anything I wasn't, never tried to be. And I don't remember you ever doing that either.
No, a lot of people ask my husband, Jeff, what's Joan really like? And he says, what do you mean really like? What you see is what you get. She's exactly the same off camera as on camera. I remember, after Frank passed away, you were here in Greenwich, and she still has her house here, like in my neighborhood. But you up and moved to Nashville. And I think I read somewhere that you were looking for a active, vibrant lifestyle. So what's it like down there?
Here's this thing. I was writing a movie at the time for my friend Craig Ferguson and I.
And the trailer, wait a minute, that trailer is fabulous. And it's going to, I mean, you are awesome.
We had
and it's going to come out soon. It's called Thank You. What is it?
Then Came You.
Then Came You. Watch for it.
We had an of Love Me to Death, but we changed that in the middle of production. It just, I was writing all the music, co-writing all the music with a friend of mine down here in Nashville named Brett James, who's one of the top writers in the whole business. He's amazing. He wrote Jesus Take the Wheel and over 500 hit songs. I mean, he's just, so I had met him doing the Today Show. We started writing the music for it. So I was down here all the time recording with him, our videos for the movie, writing them, recording them, and all of that stuff. And I'd get on a plane on a Sunday afternoon to go back to the New York area and start working again the next morning at the Today Show. And I'd say to myself, I've noticed this pattern emerging. Why am I so joyful? Why am I so happy when I'm here? First of all, I was writing, and I was writing at a level with one of the best writers in the world. That was feeding my artistic side. I was meeting new people down here that I just bonded with, and they were my kind of people. They didn't yell they didn't yell, and we've become such a culture of chaos up in the Northeast, and yelling and no lack of civility and no decency towards one another. And I realized it was just taking this enormous toll on my soul. I would be anxious. I'm not an anxious person. I would be, I was just becoming a person that was different from what I wanted to be. Angry, not angry at people, angry at people that were angry. You know what you know what it is? We are what we eat. If we eat junk food, we're gonna go to pot. We're gonna literally turn into junk. We listen to a constant diatribe of that kind of malicious talk. It's what then comes out of us. And and then once Frank was gone and my children were gone, the only thing, they live in California, the only thing that was keeping me there was the Today Show and my there and Oda, whom I adored. But I was so happy making this movie and writing these songs and just getting back to the basics of what I was created to do. That's who I am at my core. So I said, I'm going to buy a little house. I bought a little teeny one. I told you that didn't last very long. Mama likes to entertain.
And you entertain a lot, right?
Huh?
And you entertain a lot, right?
I do. I entertain a lot. Let me show you where I entertain. Shall I show her in?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my living room. There's my piano. We're not lit for anything, but here's my little dining room. It's a little dark, but here's my entertaining area.
Ooh, outdoors.
Outdoor kitchen. Yeah.
Oh, and that balcony, the big balcony.
Yep. Yes, this loggia.
And I hear there's a lot of music goes along with that entertaining.
Yeah, downstairs I have 2 writing rooms, another baby grand piano, and I tell you, you could see the parade of people that come in and out. That because of Brett, I'm very grateful to him. The fact that I was writing so much with Brett James meant a lot. It gave me a lot of street credibility in this business down here. People are going, wow, she's writing that much with Brett. She must know what she's doing. So I'm grateful to him. And it's fun. And I was here for the last election. And I'll never forget the difference between coming from the Today Show and New York and all of that environment and coming down here and being here at the time. And you know what? Not one person mentioned the election to me.
Yeah.
No, you know what they'll say? I don't care who you vote for. That's your God-given right. Now let's have a beer and write a song.
Oh, I love that. That what a nice environment to be in. Have the kids come there. Tell us what Cody and Cassidy are doing now.
Well, I usually have a muzzle on about them. You know, they don't like.
No. I'm taking the muzzle off. Look at these children, you guys. Look at these gorgeous children.
Those aren't really mine. I got them from Central Casting.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they are.
They're all working for Hallmark Channel. Cassidy acts in some of their films, and Cody produces some films for them, and I produce a couple of movies we've had on. We're doing another one this year, hopefully, called Godwink Movies, and it's the first time they've ever introduced the concept of a higher presence, of God's existence. They avoided it forever and ever. In fact, they never used, the word God had never been used ever in the title of a television movie in the history of television until we did the home.
Wow.
And I convinced them that they were missing out on a huge demographic. They go, we don't want to offend people. I said, do you know how many people you offend by not talking about faith? By not acknowledging that they exist and respecting them for it? That they feel offended that there's nothing on that they can watch that represents them. Give it a chance. Give us one movie, and they will show you. It was one of the highest rated Hallmark movies of the year. And this past year, the one we did was rated one among the top 10 of the last 10 years in the whole. And they do thousands of movies. So
yeah, that's for sure.
Right about that. People are hungry for faith. They're not everybody, but enough.
Yeah.
People are hungry for truth. People are tired of having their faith belittled. They're tired of God's name being blasphemed. They don't want to see it. They're not going to support it.
Yeah.
And Hollywood has really, really missed out
on,
not every movie should be faith-based. I'm not a prude like that, and I'm not a religious freak, but represent people.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm doing all of that stuff still. I know there's been, stories in the tabloids of I am getting married again. I'm falling in love. I'm sleeping around. I don't know, whatever. I wish they were all true.
But it's interesting that Cassidy and Cody both went into the business. They must have those genes.
Yes, Cody got his master's in screenwriting at Oxford, and he's a brilliant, brilliant writer. Cass is a really good writer as well, but she's an actress. She's she's done over 10 films. She's on lockdown now, but she's in a series called The Baxters with Roma Downey. She plays the daughter of the girlfriend of one of Roma's sons. And she's done 3 seasons of that hasn't started airing yet. It's called
Aren't they both also engaged? And don't they have weddings coming up?
Yes, they're both engaged this year, and Cassie's wedding was supposed to be in 2 weeks, and they've had to postpone. That's okay. It was going to be out in Santa Barbara, so California is really on lockdown.
Yeah.
And Cody's is supposed to be later in the year, and we're hoping that's still going to be able to take place. But you know what their attitudes were? I was so grateful for this. They said, "Mom, we haven't lost anybody to this virus. We haven't gone hungry. We haven't lost our livelihoods. We haven't lost our homes. We haven't, it's one day in our lives. It's out of a lifetime, one day, and we can have a party afterwards. It said, we're just grateful that we love each other. We're going to be together. And we just need to pray for other people that are really hurting. I mean, that's the way Frank and I raised them. They're not the center of the world. They're the center of my world.
Yes.
Because your children, but the sun does not revolve around them, and I've never allowed one moment of entitlement to be allowed in our home.
Again, such a great role model, because that's I think incredibly problematic in today's world.
Oh, me. Where's mine?
Yeah.
And no, especially my children, born into blessing, born into prosperity. Frank was born into poverty. I was born into not poverty, but we certainly were not wealthy people. And my dad had 3 jobs to make, his payments on things. 3 jobs. I think that's why I've got so many all the time. He modeled that. My mom sold eggs door to door, and we were taught that we were blessed to have everything we had, And my daddy used to always say stuff like, "Well, don't look over at how the Joneses live. You don't know what goes on behind those doors."
Yeah.
Because we
so true.
We had love. We had love. We had faith. We had enough food in our bodies. We were, I had big dreams with probably very little opportunity that any of them would have come true because we didn't have the means for them. But God had a different plan. I went off to Hollywood and just God opened doors. And just as I was ready to give up and come back and become a florist or something, or a French teacher, I don't know, something, I got named that tune, and it changed everything.
Yeah.
I've never been out of work since, and that was in 1977. So
well, it's because you have the
Lord first and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. I wish people could understand that. If they just put the Lord first, and I don't mean to be religious. I can't stand to be around religion. I can't stand it. But people that love God and know him and follow him, they're some of the most fun people you will ever meet in your life. And there are lots of them down here. Please don't move.
I can see why. Gosh, and especially Nashville, that's just so surrounded with music. And I think you said they're going to start letting live music happen again.
We just heard, and every hour on the hour, the church bells ring all over my little village, my town.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, it beats sirens in the middle of the night.
I really I hate to even just let you go. This has been such a wonderful catch up, and the idea that I could share it with, we have like 1,600 people here right now. They love you. And it's not just because you have what the industry calls the it factor. It's because you have that genuine, authentic self. And that is, there's not a lot of it around these days.
People, I think really. They're afraid. They're afraid to say how they really feel about it.
Yeah. But you aren't.
Yeah. I'm afraid not to. But I answer to a higher calling, I don't want to please people. I like to, but they're not the ones I strive to.
Yes. They're your the goal that you're a role model.
Yeah.
That's the role model.
I just I want to be kind. Too many people want to be the coolest person in the room. God wants us to be the kindest one.
So I'm told that I need to let you go. I hate to let you go. All these people who are commenting, we want you back on TV, but you guys, she's really happy. Okay. I want you to be happy.
I'm working on a new project that if it goes, I will be back on TV, but it'll be from here. It would be from here. I'm not going back again into that work environment.
I get that. Totally get that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't strategize very well. I don't reinvent. I just keep I want to evolve. I want to learn something.
Yes.
And you do too, Joan. On the day I die, I want to have learned something.
Yes.
Or done a kindness to someone or something that mattered, as opposed to, screaming at the TV or moaning and groaning. And, we need an attitude of gratitude in this country. I think if anything, this lockdown, we've learned we have it so good in this country, most of us.
Yes.
Just say it. Wake up in the morning and say, thank you, Lord. I live in America. And we've got our problems, absolutely. But the rest of the world, we're just blessed. And
we really are.
Yeah. So I'm blessed to be with you today, sweetie. Thank you for thinking of me. And let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. Everybody say, no, don't go. Don't stop.
Battery's dead. So.
Love you. I say it with all sincerity. You're just one of the most genuine, kind, compassionate women that I know I've ever met.
Oh, Joan, that means the world to me. Thank you.
Mwah, mwah, mwah,
you ain't stopped living, let me tell you. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye, Kathie Lee. Thank you so much. Was I right? Is she just the best? She's just, to me, she's one of the cream of the crop women. All right. Tomorrow it's going to be the beginning of the 3-day weekend. I'm going to be talking about health and beyond, just so we can keep our heads on straight, you guys, as we head into the 3-day weekend. I know it's not going to be like the normal one because a lot of people are still sheltering in place, but you're still going to get the barbecue going. maybe you just won't invite the whole neighborhood. But join me tomorrow. And again, it's a 3-day weekend, and I intend to take the 3-day weekend, so I won't be back until Tuesday. All right. Have a fabulous weekend. Namaste. Loved having you here today.